All right, we're gonna do a slow start. Um, Let me start my tablet shit. All right, think everything's good-ish. Um, this is how far we got yesterday, which I think was already pretty decent. And today I think I'll be able to parallelize a ton of stuff, which is also kind of exciting because I haven't done that in a long time because I couldn't think of ways of doing it or having parallelizable tasks that were like big enough to warrant parallelism. So that's what we're gonna. I plan to stream a really long time because I have so many things I want to build. Um, so we'll see how we get there. I'm gonna wait for maybe a couple of people on YouTube, right? Just one person on YouTube to show up or something like that. Um, in the meantime, what can we do? In the meantime, there's something I wanted to look at because I realized I had an old FPGA board lying around. And so I was thinking if I'm building the operating system of the future, why don't I just build the CPU as part of the operating system as well, right? Since you can synthesize a CPU on an FPGA, right? So because this is pretty old, uh, I am going to generate just some documentation. I'm gonna do this for like the next 15 minutes or something. Um, just because I'm curious, and then this guy should be downloaded soon as well. Um, and maybe I will. I guess I can explain a little bit what we were working on yesterday. Um, so I'm using my tablet to do most of my programming these days. Gives me the time to think. The problem is that I can't really talk at the same time when I do technical work. But right now, it's just like a plan of things that I want to build today. So one thing that I want to build is, no, this is not a great color. Let me choose yellow. So we have a couple of issues from yesterday to fix just to make sure that it works. Um, so the way I'm going to do this, oh man, I like drawing. Um, I'm going to highlight the things that are preliminaries to actually getting features in, um, which is fixing one of the calls we did yesterday, improving the UI DSL to have like slightly better user interface than like this garbage. Because currently you can only do text, button, and input. So you end up with like fairly shitty UIs. Um, but I did a lot of work this morning. So another one is clean up my work tree manager because we're going to be doing a lot of work trees today. Um, and then we're going to start building real features, right? So we have one intermediary task after this is, write a playbook slash skill to build backend apps and front end apps. And then we'll do the same for here, which is like look at the prompts for the UI DSL. And I think once we have the SQLite DB service, um, one thing that could be pretty interesting is to be able to expose everything that's CLI as a service through a config file. So I wrote this down somewhere this morning. Oh, so a REPL would be good too. I'm not sure if that's really important at first. What did I write about the CLI thing? I know I wrote some paragraphs about it. There we go. So I think this will be a good start. Fixing a bug, improving the UI DSL, fixing the documentation in Doc Browser, clean up the workspace manager. So cleaning up the workspace manager might be the first thing that is useful, because these three, we can already parallelize all four of them, or at least we can parallelize these two. So I know I have a cleanup workspace already. So we do have, oh no, I don't. Maybe I do? No, I don't. Okay, so that's interesting. I thought I started refactoring it. Well, we're going to create a workspace manager. We're going to create a workspace to fix the workspace manager with the workspace manager. And we're going to take glazed, and we're going to take the workspace manager. I wonder if there's other things that I might want to have. I don't think so. Update WSM. Repository not found. WSM. Oh, it's called Workspace Manager. That's why I knew there was. I knew there was one. Refactor Workspace Manager. I knew I had started this a long time ago. 6 months ago is when I last refactored it. So I'm not even sure this is all that great. And I think I didn't have the doc manager back then either. Oh, I worked on it like a little bit in January. Interesting. I asked it for the status, and then I probably stopped. All right, we're going to refactor the workspace manager. Going to start with codex. Hey, Eric, how's it going? How's it going? I'm starting slowly because I'm going to be able to parallelize a lot of stuff today. I'm just going to work a little bit on my workspace manager, right? Because like everybody has to build their own work tree thing. I vibed that like a super long time ago. I think in like April or May of last year with Manus. It was like a one shot, and it works, and it's still the same. I never looked at the code. I just know that like half of the features are broken. So I am going to, the last time I touched this apparently was in January. I probably had a look, and then I never looked at it. So I'm gonna say read it, double check it, and expand it if needed. I have no idea what this is. Upload to Remarkable under today's date. Actually, you can do experiments in scripts. Keep a detailed diary as you work, and then do the stuff above. Just gonna be like inspecting a little bit, because I have a workspace manager fork, right? Like I have many repos, so I usually have a workspace for me is a lot of clones, a lot of sub repos, and so um, all right, well, we can kill these things. Let's just start fresh. So the workspace I'm in to build my OS has like a ton of repos. There's like a bunch of garbage that has accumulated here. Um, I don't know if I should leave them or not, but like I do have the repos Geppetto, Glazed, GEPA. I don't really think it's all that good. We have this weird Cozo DB. But the ones we're working on is GoGo App Inventory, GoGo Arc App, Arc AGI3, Geppetto Glazed, Goja, GoGo OS, Pinocchio, and Vazen OS. So it's quite a bit of it's quite a bit of repos to wrangle, and it has its purpose, right? Like I'm usually a fan of mono repos, but I've been like doing tons of sub repos. And this operating system. So yesterday we got pretty far. We modularized the code base because it used to be like a vibe code prototype that was like all piled on together. So yesterday I split out the front end, I split out the back end, we split out the back end modules. And so now back end modules, so see the inventory, ArcAGI, and JPA, those are the three sub repos here. They're like GoGo JPA, GoGo App Inventory, GoGo App ArcAGI. And so these are mounted, brought together in this Vazen OS repo. The Vazen OS, however, runs like the GoGo OS has this has the windowing and this has the Go backend. Actually, this makes me realize that's something else I wanted to do today, which is, oops, um, which is move the UI to Go window manager and make a clean Go OS, right? So that's going to be a nice thing to start, because if I leave it for too long, I think it will just like start to cause problems down the road. And I think I want to have like a clean separation between the front end repo and the back end repo, just to also help models not do fuck shit. To have two clean separate graphs and stuff like that. But so the first thing I think that's going to bring us the most return on, a return on investment is going to be cleaning up work tree management. Um, and then the second one is going to be just starting to fix these bugs. So we're going to start fixing these bugs, right? So all we're going to do, we worked on doc manager tickets yesterday to make an Arc AGI VM backed card stack. So just to give you a little bit of context here, we do have an Arc AGI module or app. I'm not sure about the name yet. This runs in the backend. It actually runs the Python version of the thing in a Docker container. It just proxies to it. But these HTTP endpoints are exposed to a JavaScript VM, or rather, their documentation is exposed. And what you can do is write little snippets of code that are running in the VM. You can see the running plugin session here. This is a web worker running like a WASM JavaScript VM. And so you can run this. It uses the exposed ArcAGI functions to hit the backend. And so if I'm creating a session and I'm loading the games and I'm starting a game, right? And then I reset the game and I kind of like do up, I do get a 404. So that's the thing I want to fix right now. And I think I might have to prompt it quite aggressively here. There is a bug where after starting the hypercar demo stack and clicking create session, uh, load games, click a game, press reset, press up, I get a 404. We have front end and back end running in tmux. Create a new ticket and reproduce the bug. You are welcome to create a separate debugging card that makes it easier to execute the sequence. Um, so that's going to be interesting. Analyze the Go OS and Go app arc AGI 3 code base to see how this all works together. Write a detailed research document verbose for a new intern that doesn't, not for a new internet, for a new intern that doesn't know the code base. 10, 7+ pages explaining the entire flow, how to write an ARC AGI 3 card, and then how to reproduce the bug programmatically. Also look for potential issues that could cause it. Keep a frequent diary as you work, then upload the final research architecture guide document to Remarkable. And then I'm just gonna trigger a skill, which I don't know if is all that great, but I'm gonna trigger it anyway to get like a nice big document. So this is running. This is gonna be researching our 404 bug, but also um, giving us like a good overview. Because what I need to do is like start thinking about reproducibility skills or playbooks. So let's see. In the meantime, we do have now our workspace manager document, right? So we're going to go take a look at this. And here I have to be kind of quiet. I can't speak at the same time because I can't think. Um, but I'll try to explain what I notice when I read this report, right? So we do have the analyze refactor, and then I uploaded the document that I just wrote. And we're gonna look at that. Did I say 10+ pages? 7+ pages. All right, well, that's good. So I'm gonna have to shut up for a little bit, and then I'll explain what I'm noticing. So I'm taking my time. I should maybe start to explain because I think we're getting to the end. Um, so I'm working on my work tree manager, workspace manager. I vibed it like in April of last year or something, when agents were really starting to become slowly a thing. I think I used Manus or something. And then I tried to refactor because I added like a shit ton of features and like half of them don't work. And so I was trying to refactor it. And back then I was trying with like Sonnet and Cursor, Cloud Code, AMP Code. Because like Codex, I didn't try Codex for some reason. And man, I just couldn't get it refactored without doing significant work by myself, right? Um, but now models are good. Like models are just like better architects than I am. Codex 5, GPT-5, when it came out, I was instantly, oh shit, now I can refactor stuff. But I never refactored this workspace manager or picked it up. And so it has been working good enough for me for a while. But now I tried something on the previous stream last week where I forked one of my workspaces, which means multi-repository workspace is going to be forked into a separate work tree for each of these repos, and um, that didn't work. It like hopefully like it actually like thank God didn't fuck up everything, but it like kind of threw me in for a loop. So I started doing a refactor sometime this summer maybe, and then I left it aside, and it looks like in January I kind of went back to refactoring it, but then I didn't. And so we're back once more, but we do have a document from back then that I've been updating now that tells me about what needs to be done and what the current state is, and I'm trying to catch up, right? So most of my work is kind of like reviewing these documents in depth, thinking pretty hard about um thinking pretty hard about what I'm reading, the architecture, like all of the stuff that I want to learn about the code base and where we're at, and then I want also to like add some to contribute to the agent and give it like some good prompting so that when I kick it off for the next thing, it will like not fail. It will build exactly what I want, or like semi exactly what like I it will build what I imagine the agent's going to build, and then I can just leave it aside for 20 minutes and go to another document that's running in parallel, right? Because we're working on two projects, and then continue there, take my time, look at this document, maybe walk around a little bit, then I come back and I can put in my prompt. And so that's what I'm doing. And sadly, I can't speak at the same time. But so this workspace manager, to give a little bit of structure, the workspace manager, what it does is pretty simple. It allows me to list my workspaces. So each of these workspaces has like, a directory in workspaces, and then um, oh, what the fuck is app server JS? Um, and then it lists all the repos that are in there. And this was Vibe. Like, I don't even know how it works. It's not great. Like, it cuts the things off. And then it has so many verbs because I added a ton of stuff. I added like, oh, start tmugs and like add scripts to it and like add plugins and then fork and like create and complete and like do all of that. And a lot of them are not great. Right. And so, um, uh, I mean, there are good verbs because I asked for them, right? Like, so these verbs are um, what I intended. It's just that they don't work really well. And I was like, why don't they work really well? And I looked at the code and I was like, oh my God, it's like a 3,000 line one file thing. I should have looked earlier. But I wanted to experiment for a time. I was just like experimenting with the concept of just like never looking at the code, which I think a lot of people are trying out now, right now, like the whole Gastown Ralph loop kind of thing. And I'm doing this in between. Well, I'm not reading the code, but I'm constantly writing about the code, right? Like I'm constantly reading documents like these that teach me mostly enough about the structure of all of this. So here we can see that from the refactor that has already been done, we have a set of command handlers. So I don't know if it's using glazed, which is using my um, command line framework. Then, and if we update to the latest version, I broke the API, but so hopefully it hasn't actually been used yet. And then we can see in the package for the workspace manager, we have something called a workspace manager, a status checker, git operations, sync operations, rebase helpers. None of them I really know if they're good or not, if they're good abstractions or not. So that's the next thing I'm going to do, right? Like when I was reading this, I was like, I'm not sure about these abstractions. So I wrote down ask for review. And because review is something that's time consuming, I'm going to go straight over and just start to tell it to do a review. So I think this is where we are now. Do an in-depth, uncompromising, like a OSHA inspector caring about cleanliness and correctness. Code review of both the code, duplication, deprecation, bloat, and the architecture, knowing that we want to expand this a little bit to match the feature set of the current WSM binary. Look under every corner. It's not under every corner, but whatever. Exhaustive, right? A 7+ page detailed document about the architecture and the review and all that, and upload to Remarkable when done. So we're going to kick off a review. I don't know how good the prompt is. I'm just starting the day. And I'm talking all the time, which influences my prompting as well. Usually I'm like very short and succinct. Here, because I'm yapping, it looks like my prompts are like talking as well. Which is interesting because like usually I never do that. What's up, Mayor? Why do you want to talk to me? I don't think you can talk to me. You can write to me. All right. Anyway, we have the review going. I did a couple of other notes here, which is because we're building this operating system, I've got this concept of apps, and apps really are like modules that you can mount that exposes a set of methods and exposes documentation. And it's kind of like an app, right? You can say like, hey, I'm a Git app. I can open a repo, and then you can like ask for the current branch, and you can ask for the remote URL. Like all those methods get registered with the OS, and then in the OS you can create code with an LLM, right? Like you have a chat assistant for an agent, and the operating system exposes all these methods of the primitives and says like, hey, you want to write a program to list the Git repos? Like you've got Git client list, right? So that's kind of the idea of what I wrote here, which is like, hey, by the way, this is exposed as an app because I already wrote it down as a list of things to build. But you know, while I'm building this, maybe it makes sense to start working on it. Then the other thing that I noticed is that the worktree manager is pretty minimal. There's like no fork, but it's like, it's not the workspace manager actually. See, and this is where my brain shuts off the talking module or whatever. So we have the workspace manager. And then we have the worktree manager at the, oh, okay, so they're not the same. Not the same. And I really like working this way because I can just like step away from the computer, right? I have a much calmer day, and I've always been like working on my sketchbook, but because I had to type so much, it was like, you know, looking at the screen. But here, I don't care if the agent's finished or not. Like I don't look at notifications. I'm all set. And this is where I added like another thing that we could do while we refactor to just like, uh, hey Mayor, if you want to do Java full stack, I don't know what the future is, but like that's the problem, is I literally don't know what the future is like, and learning fundamentals like algorithms and all of that, that's probably never going to be wrong. Programming languages, I think you should know a few for real. So yeah, I would learn Java. It's a good idea. I'm just gonna try to put this, add it to the broadcast, and then maybe switch to somewhere where you can see it. It's not really readable, is it? Let me see if I can find something clear. There we go. So yeah, I don't know if I mean it's worth learning computers, but I have no idea where we're gonna be in a year. Absolutely no idea. So I know it's a shitty answer, but right now, man, kids learning computer science right now, I don't want to be in their shoes, not because there's no future, but just because everything's so uncertain. Very, very interesting times. Let's go back to our document. So where are we in the refactor status? There's 2 bugs, or like 3. So we're going to create a bug ticket for those. Hopefully the research has been finished. It's not. The code review hasn't been finished. But the next thing we're going to do is like create bug tickets for refactor gaps 1 and 2. And for each ticket, add a detailed bug report analysis and implementation analysis. Hey, BH you're going to graduate in 2027. I think one thing you could definitely bank on is like learning how to learn with LLMs. If you can become good at learning with the aid of a LLM, then you're going to be set for, you're going to be just like much better. And I can kind of show you what I do because, well, let me finish my bug tickets, and then while the agent is working, we can get into the meta, right? Add a detailed bug report analysis and implementation, fix, design, plan, explaining every nook and cranny of why this happens, could be the case, decisions made, concepts needed to understand, because we are going to assign them to our new intern joining tomorrow that doesn't know anything. When done, upload both tickets documents to Remarkable. Don't forget, you can run experiments in scripts of each ticket. All right, so why this is working, I am learning all the time. Like I've loved learning since forever, right? Because I'm just like curious as fuck. So LLMs have been good because in school I would always get into trouble because I would always ask why, right? I would just like ask questions all the time, and I learned 40 years later that that tends to be seen as aggression. So that was cool. But anyway, since I'm building my own operating system, this morning I was like, hey, why don't I build my own CPU? At university and at one of my jobs, we designed like a little CPU. We had like an FPGA. Bought this board like 10 years ago thinking, you know, I'll do this at home. It's fun. I never did because it was not fun. But that has changed. And so I want to learn how it works. So you can see how I literally do this, right? So I opened ChatGPT and I said like DE0 Nano get started tutorial on Linux. Obviously just a web search, but actually it's a nice web search because it does pre-filter all the stuff for me. And then I can still go to the original source, right? So I already get like a little bit of information on here. Has an onboard, install Quartus, Prime, Lite, first project Blinky in Verilog, and then we're gonna, so what I'm gonna do here is like design the TOC fairly concise for a guide on building embedded SoCs with small CPU core or just peripherals for my Linux computer. So the cool thing about systems like ChatGPT for learning is I can say like, hey, I want to learn this, but the project I want to use to learn it is something I deeply care about. So I'm like really invested in building this thing. Instead of building, like a fucking stupid Hello World tutorial, like a washing machine controller or whatever. Now I have a project that is super interesting for me because I want to have it, right? And so that's exactly what I'm prompting here. And I'm of course going to do the Blinky stuff, and I do hope that all of this doesn't blast my FPGA. But so I'm gonna ask, right? Like I want to build embedded SoCs with small or just peripherals for my Linux computer. So I do kind of want to expand my operating system with external hardware, and I roughly know what I want, right? Like I want to connect it over USB, and then I can connect some, like maybe a display to this, or maybe some other stuff. And I actually wonder if it powers on. So let me connect that. Oh shit, I do have a USB port, like a left one. No, you're always going to learn at the speed of humans. So are other people, right? It's like, as far as you're concerned, AGI has already happened. Like if you want to have an infinity of knowledge that you will never be able to absorb and everything goes faster than you can, like just go to a library, right? Or just go to GitHub, and there's no way you can keep up with the software out there, right? So all of that doesn't matter. As long as you are developing yourself as a human being, I think you're fine. The problem, of course, is like in our economy or like our system is like, can you get the money to do that? Which is currently like the issue for software developers. It's like, yeah, our job is like kind of gone. It can be done by a machine for much cheaper. But so anyway, I don't know if this is turning on or not. Oh, it is. It just blinked. So this is the UART. This is the on the go. This is the USB blaster. And then it has this 5 volts pin. So not sure what we can do. LS USB Future Technology Serial. I think that's the one. Yep. So it is at least responding on USB. So that's cool. Let's look at the table of contents. Building embedded SoCs for Linux host. Mental model. What is SoC? Clock domains reset 3 graphs. That's cool. Host device compatibility things. Cool. Tooling on Linux. I don't care. Minimal periphery SoC. Interconnecting assembling. Adding a small CPU core. DMA. Linux integration patterns. Structure this more around projects, and the material is taught through the projects. So I want to have a project-oriented course. Yeah, that sounds like a great system, right? Like a great thing to build. It's like a vehicle emergency response system with the Zephyr, I don't know, RTOS, and then I'm not sure what a vehicle emergency response using an accelerometer crash detection. I kind of know what that is. And then heart rate monitoring. All right. Sounds like a interesting thing. What kind of, is this for university? What kind of microcontroller are you using? Like Zephyr runs on quite a few, right? All right. Yeah, this sounds great. Risk V is not a tiny SOC, right? Can we do tinier cores than Risk V? More like micro cores? So here, what I'm doing is like I'm designing the table of contents for the book I want to read, right? Like I'm imagining what would be the coolest book I could find about the topic. Let me start writing it. Yeah, this is exactly what I want. All right, cool. So what I'm going to do a mix between peripheral track and micro core track. Because I want to do peripherals and I want to do small CPU cores. I don't want to like instantiate a whole CPU with Linux on this machine. I really want something that's pretty small, pretty ad hoc, to execute language and hardware. Like that's my goal. Is like I don't want like start from the technical side of things. I want to start from the language side of things because language is what LLMs know. And so if I do an LLM centric operating system, an LLM centric CPU, I want it to be based on language, if that makes sense. So peripheral first, add a microcore, throughput and serious integration capstones. No, it's like make 5 projects, peripheral and microcore tracks only, teach the base material through them. I'm struggling a little bit, probably because I'm talking and I'm not caring too much about my prompting. I'll have to get used to that. That on stream I'm like not as sharp as I wish I could be. It still doesn't get it, right? Why not? Okay. All right, that sounds good. So once I have the table of contents, I'll start building out the actual book. And so I'll usually say, I'll just like, hey, write out project 1. Then I'll wait for this project to be done, and then I can say write project 2 in the same style, and then I can start parallelizing them. I don't know how much it remembers from its previous things, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the deep research mode. I'm going to, just for safety, I'm going to repaste the entire curriculum, and then I'm going to say write out project 1 as a book. And then that's it, right? So now I'm going to have, I say book, and I know it will write something of it like a chapter length. So that's kind of a trick. And then I'll just have it start in the background, right? And I'll let it write this because I don't want to start like 5 right now because I'm not sure all 5 will be pretty different. And I'm not sure if this is even going to be good. So that's where we're at here. Okay, so the bug we had with the AGI, however, apparently with our OS, so I'll come back to that, but it looks like just like a string case thing. Create tasks to fix it, then fix it, commit, and keep the diary. All right, we'll just have this bug fixing. In the meantime, this guy is still doing the code review, so that's interesting. Although I asked it to create bug tickets for both of them. I wonder if it like fixed the bugs. Because yesterday kept like being a little bit too eager, but here it just looks like it wrote the documents. It doesn't look like it fixed stuff. These are test scripts for the bug thing. So that's why I said you can run experiments, and I knew it would like start writing stuff like that to reproduce them. And that gives us not just validity and write like more information about the bug itself, but when we go back to this, we will have a set of test suites already and like a grounding that allows us to carry context over without having to carry a lot of tokens over. Like if there's a tool that's called like reproduce bug.sh, it's not going to try to figure out how to reproduce the bug. It's just going to look at it, right? And then it will read 10 lines of code and it'll be like, oh yeah, I know how to reproduce the bug. The script works anyway, so you can pretty quickly move forward. So that's a technique. It indexes pretty hard on it, so don't tell it to run experiments all the time because it will run experiments. Um, Even if you tell it like, you decide if you want to run experiments, it's always going to run experiments. So we do have 2 bug reports, and they were both uploaded to our tablet. So I'm going to go quickly over them. I will have to be silent because otherwise I won't be having the level of acuity that I want. But if we look at it, we now have the 2 bug reports, right? Like the first one is the one we created here about remote branch detection. I'm going to go over it fairly fast, but I need to be silent while I do that, and then I'll explain kind of what I wrote down. If you're interested, like I don't expect anybody watching this to really understand too much about the workspace manager. So gonna talk in between because I know it's boring otherwise. Going through the bug report, and I'm kind of like just writing down what pops into my head. It helps. It slows me down, and it also allows me to think pretty deeply about what's going on. Right. So I find the bug pretty funny. Is that the 2 clients don't list branches correctly? I don't know which model I used when I wrote this. I can imagine it was like Sonnet 3.7 or something like that, or like a mix of models. Like this doesn't sound like a codex thing to do. Maybe it was something that was in the, I don't know. But it's pretty funny. And one of the errors, and this I know is like a codexy kind of thing, where it just like ignores errors, which I find like a pretty bad habit. Then there's duplicated code, and then I'm like, hey, if all this branch logic, because all the workspace manager does is like handle branches, right? So if like the branch logic is like not that great, like maybe we should just do it right now, rip off the band-aid, introduce like a new abstraction, and then put it in there. Um, so that's maybe the first thing I will do is like start asking before I go much further. What kind of clean branch abstraction could we introduce, um, even if you said out of scope? So the reason I say even if you said out of scope is mostly to just link it back to reuse these words and then say link it to the exact position in 3 in VSM MO001, right? Um, and then what redesign and refactor would that entail, and how useful would it be to do this now instead of down the road? And here it's not going to write a document, it's going to answer pretty quickly, which is going to be nice. So that's why I'm waiting. Man, I realize how streaming, how much it slows me down. It's crazy. Like I would have done this in the first 15 minutes and we're already an hour in. That's crazy. I might just like shut up at some point and just like hack, and no one's watching anyway, so right. Oh, sorry, BH. I just like didn't see you. Um, oh, you had a Nordic chip. I don't know if you're still there. You probably. It shows that there's no one on YouTube anymore. So if you come back, the Nordic chip, we can talk about it. All right. So we're looking at the proposed abstraction. Yeah, I like that. When Okay, fix gaps 1 and 2. Introduce thin branch manager just for work tree. Okay, create tasks to fix gaps 1 and 2. I'm not even going to look at the bug fixes all too much because they're actually fairly small bugs. The documents are pretty long because I asked them to be that long, and they teach me, right? Like they teach me a lot. I'm going to continue reading the one document for a minute just so I learn a little bit more about the shape of the code right now. In their respective tickets, then work on them task by task, closing them off as you go. Ticket as well. Keep a frequent, detailed diary as you work. All right, so we're going to have it fix the both gaps, and then we're going to just go back to the document for a little bit just to see if we learn something else, right? And then we already have a plan. We're going to fix both gaps. We're going to refactor everything with the branch manager. We're going to carry things over, and then we're going to tackle some of the other issues. And then hopefully at some point we'll have a clean new workspace manager with maybe less features, but at least have a fork feature which I can use later on. I I'm wondering where the code review document is. The one that it created like a while ago. So this is where it created it. And it didn't update it, huh? So it's here and then it didn't update it. Did it? Oh, it compacted it and then it forgot about it. Upload the code review document from earlier to the remarkable, then continue working on the gaps tickets. All right. So we're going to have the code review. I'll just like read it a little bit. And hopefully not get too distracted because this is kind of a sideshow, but it's a useful sideshow. It's still writing tests, and to go back to what I'm building today, I'm gonna wait until there's actually viewers. All right. All right. So what we're building today is ultimately working on the operating system that we did yesterday, which looks like a little bit like this. And then I can look. There's like apps that are mounted, like the inventory app, which has like an LLM chat that I can look at, that I can talk to, right? There's a app browser where I can see the apps that are mounted. So the inventory app is mounted. Then there's an ArcAGI app that exposes a lot of methods with like a schema. I can browse that. I can start the app. It has a React interface to playing a game, which is fun, right? Like those are the ArcAGI 3 games. To just play them by hand. But then I also have a JavaScript VM, which currently has a pretty shitty UI DSL, but that I can use to, like, this was generated by GPT-4o Mini in like 200 tokens, right? Or something like that. One of the things that we're going to add today in our plan is like improve the UI DSL to just have like better, why am I highlighting this? To just have like better looking stuff. I think we just fixed the ArcAGI JS call, so we're going to test that. Like this is the one I just asked it to fix. So we're going to see if it did a good job. We're going to create a session. We're going to load the games, and I'm going to click on a game, click on reset, load the timeline, and then if we do up, down, 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 left, left. So that seems to work. So that means at least our first ArcAGI bug is fixed, right? And so I wonder if it committed. Yeah, it did commit. So that was fixed. That's cool. I'm going to say like, look at all the tickets and close the ones that are done for cleanup. So we're just going to look a little bit at the different tickets we have because we did like a ton of them yesterday and then it got kind of like a little bit messy. So we fixed that one bug. I'm going to have it clean the tickets. That's going to take like a little while. And what I want to do after that is like, I think fix the documentation. So if you look at the module browser, if you go to an app, they do have documentation down here, but this is kind of like nonsense. I'm not sure exactly where this comes from. So I'm going to ask to do a documentation browser. And the documentation browser, yeah, it looks like, I like the look because I want something focused. Like Codex fucks it up all the time. This is Codex stuff, but then I go over it with Claude and then I have like something that's decently nice. So I call it operating system because it allows you to mount apps and stuff. Obviously, it runs in the browser, but I still consider this to be a window manager, right? Like there's tools to manage you can look at the events, you can look at like the Redux performance. All of this is like pretty performant. You've got like right click menus. you can right click, for example. I don't know if you can right click here, but in the chat, for example, or I don't know if you can right click here, something useful. But if I'm in the chat, I get like a whole thing where I can like look at the timeline, like look at the, look at the different agents and all of that. Sorry, not agents, the timeline entries. So there's a lot of stuff that has already been built that's like reusable for making applications, making applications job easier and communicate between them. And every functionality here of an app, so the stuff that you see in the module browser when I open an app, all of these are mapped into JavaScript as well, so that you can run little plugins that run, or like, a window. It's called a card right now because it's like a nice hypercard kind of model, but these all run in a sandbox, right? So they're only able to do very, very few things with the global thing. Actually, they only like get JSON in and then get JSON out. And so you can see if I start this, I have one session right now, which is the Arc AGI demo thing from here. I don't know if I can start multiple, but if I start, for example, the home, you can see, boom, there's like a new session that starts here, right? And then if I do browse inventory, I'm going to have a third session that starts. So all of these are web workers with a JavaScript sandbox in it, right? And these can start to interact with each other in very constrained ways. So I finally got this to work yesterday in a semi-clean manner. And so what we're going to do today, after cleaning up a little bit of stuff up front, is just like start building app after app after app after app, and generate UI after UI after UI after UI, and these like little JavaScript snippets, right? And so, because what I can do here oh, actually, that's an idea. Alt tab to switch between windows would be pretty cool. So we have our mounted apps. Where's my LLM chat? Let's just start a new one. And then if I say like, hey, create a hello world counter card. So this is GPT-4.1 mini. But even that, you see how quickly it like was able to build a counter, right? Like GPT-4.1 mini, 3,000 characters out, and then here's the code for the app. And so if you look at the, I don't know if I should call it app, or card is not a good name. Like, I'm not sure really how I'm going to organize it, but you can see the runtime card registry is now here. It has the hello world counter. It's like 400 characters, and I can edit it in like VI, and then I can it's not VI, sorry. Hello world, and I can say YouTube, save and inject, and then this thing now says YouTube. So all of that works, right? And then you can see the only thing you can do is like a panel with text and buttons. So that's what my ticket about the better UI DSL is for, right? Like this one here is maybe something I will have working, and then the fixed documentation and doc browser is something else we're going to do. So it closed all of these tickets, which is good. Which ones are active still? Which ones are active? It runs locally, yeah. But I want to have it run distributed. And actually, I was thinking, like, what's an operating system which is based on LLMs, which can write code, right? Like, what you could do is just if you consider like things like OpenClaw to be the new operating system, you don't care where it runs. You just have all these ways of interacting with it, and it like kind of spreads across all your devices. And as long as it's like keeping your data secure and you have like these boundaries to the real world, you can do anything. And so what I want is like to have these apps also be microcontrollers, for example, or really anything, right? Like if you run something on your phone, then suddenly the same LLM, the same prompts can be used to write code for your phone that interacts with these things. So that's like the longer term goal. I don't think we'll get there today. I know that it works because I have small prototypes. But Okay, so what is it doing? ArcBridge Phase 2 for hard runtime card re-render. Are GPA 22 and GPA 23 not fixed at this point? Q first runtime alignment, hypercard tools, typed runtime card editor routing. I think that's fixed too. Pretty right click is fixed too. Okay, I think close both and close 15. 15. So concurrency and latency for what? For LLM calls, or just like, say, if you stream videos and stuff like that? Man, now I remember what I wanted to tell the guy yesterday who was into embedded. Warnings during close. JPA 22 runtime card re-render for domain state updates. That's been fixed. All right, let's go over the UI DSL exposed to the card VMs, UI panel, UI text, etc. Create a new ticket to improve the UI DSL, go over the existing widgets and how they work, then look at all the new widgets we added to the Go OS engine package and make a detailed proposal on improvements, new widgets, and looks for the UI DSL. It should still be concise. It doesn't need to cover all the possibilities. Rather, it should be elegant and powerful. All right. Do a detailed research, explain all the fundamentals to our intern joining, write verbosely, store in ticket, upload to Remarkable, and I think that's it. I'm going to link the ticket research pipeline. I'm not sure if that's a good idea, as said before, but we'll try to do it. All right, good luck for your exam. Data structures and algorithms. That will always, that's right, that's math at the end of the day. I think that will survive quite a long time, and it will also teach you to think in structured manners, teach you about complexity. I mean, I guess I hope you learned it already if you have an exam, so good luck. All right, so this is researching the UI DSL now. And so we're going to go back to our workspace manager. So it implemented both gaps. Gap implemented, gap closed. Now create a ticket for the proper repo-wide branch abstraction refactor so that we continue on the cleanest basis possible. No backwards compatibility. Add a detailed implementation plan and a list of detailed tasks. So we're planning on, and this is where, so this is this part here, cleanup WSM. You can see it over here. So we're working on that one and we're working on that one. So usually I put in like a little circle next to them so that I remember that I have like a codex running on them. Once we have the OS running, I'll make an app for that. So hopefully today we'll be able to squash so many apps. And for the workspace manager, so that I don't go too much into the weeds, I want to have repo fork and then initialization template script. And then I think that might be it, right? Like glazed verbs, clean surface, Goja interface. So a little bit of stuff, but we're going to do this next. Then we're going to add this. Or maybe we'll do the glazed verbs, which is my framework to do command line flags. And then we'll do the JavaScript interface second. And then we can build these two more easily. So this is doing the DSL UI analysis. Okay. And then this is doing its ticket for refactoring the Git branches. So we're kind of like at a point where I don't exactly know what to do. So in that meantime, we're just going to go back to our FPGA course. We've had the first project going. I'm going to export this to PDF. I'm going to upload it to my Remarkable tablet, right? So it's already been uploaded. I can go to my tablet and then import it, import this in here. And now I can go back to my tablet and just like start reading this thing a little bit. So that way, while the agents go, for like 10 minutes or so, I'm just going to spend a little bit of time. We do have our code review, though, to review. So maybe we'll leave the FPGA stuff aside and do some review of the code review of the workspace manager. Since we're on the workspace manager, might as well do that, right? So I can't really talk while I'm doing this because it breaks my brain. So I'm doing it in silence, and I'm going to try to explain afterwards what I was thinking when I was doing this. So I'm just writing about the refactor that we currently planned out. So since I noticed that, right, and I spent most of my time just reviewing these documents, I know that this kind of finished. So upload the plan to Remarkable. We're going to go quickly over the plan that's going to fix our remote branch existence. We already like designed this or reviewed the design or like tweaked it a little bit earlier by reviewing like the previous document. This one's like a bit more focused on code review. And then we looked at a possibility to do a new design because we'd rather like just like start on like strong foundations right away. There's no need for backwards compatibility. And then we just uploaded like the implementation plan for this. So let's go look at it and then we can fire it off and that way it's running in the background. So this ticket defines a full repo wide thing. I'm going to shut up again because otherwise I can't really think. And I did that where I was talking at the same time. I just like made prompting mistakes. So I'm going to try to avoid that today. All right. I don't actually understand this. I'm going to trust GPT here. The only thing I want to change is use typed enums. Use typed enums for mode and remote ref. Update the plan and tasks. Then work task by task. Create tasks if you haven't already, because I don't remember if it has created tasks. Commit at proper intervals. Keep a frequent implementation diary for WSM MO004, right? So now we have the branch refactor going and we can go back to our document and just like continue reading the code review. And in the code review, I did like a bunch of notes, right? There's a lot of commands here in the workspace manager CLI. I don't need the pull request one. I've never felt a need for that. I don't know what conflicts is about. So I don't know what sync is either. So I'm going to leave like the simpler one, which are merge and fork, or we'll see how complex the whole thing goes. The other thing is that there's a lot of files that are currently pretty big that have probably like just been carried over from the previous one. I wonder if these commands files are what they are. This is one of the points where I might actually go look into the source code, which is pretty rare for me, but in this case, I think it's warranted. So we're going to go to Refactor Workspace Manager, and then I'm going to open Goland, and we'll just like go look at the code. So I don't know which window it is now. Trust project, and then we're going to move this to 4. Close the doc manager. We're going to go into the Workspace Manager. We're going to go look at one of these commands. So one of the bigger ones was rebase. And so what does rebase do? It's a Cobra command, so it needs to be moved to glazed. And then it has all the functionality that we want to move to PKG, right? So we're building this like packaging for interacting with Git, but we still have all these commands to migrate. To be honest, if I were to do this today, I'm doing this more out of interest of seeing how good I get at prompting refactors, which is still like kind of the complicated thing. Because otherwise, I was just like, hey, just build a new one. You have like a reference implementation. It's kind of broken. Just like build it afresh, and that's probably going to be more efficient. But I mean, it might be. I kind of don't want to experiment right now because I want to tackle other things. One thing we're going to do, however, is we're going to go no, refactor workspace manager. I wonder if the workspace manager mentions glazed anywhere. So it doesn't mention glazed yet, which is cool because this has changed significantly since the last time. This has changed significantly since the last time. Go work use. Then we're going to go into Pinocchio, go work use dot. And I think this is like the remote sync, maybe. This is one of the verbs that I wish I could have, which is just git rebase origin main. I realize that's and then we have Bobity. I did the same thing here, right? And so here we should have everything rebased. Hopefully it's still built while it's refactoring as well. Man, I'm gonna have a headache. I have a headache already. I was planning on streaming for like 10 hours. I'll see. I'm getting old, man. All right, moving on. Back to a code review. Get some bit more knowledge. So that's what I was asking here, right? Like extract functionality to PKG for sure. And so this is a bug that we found. We addressed it. We haven't implemented it yet. We haven't fixed it. Maybe we did fix it. And so now we're refactoring the branch stuff. The rebase ahead metric appears directionally reversed. So what we're going to do as the next one, right, is like we're going to go, instead of doing all of this code review and seeing like how it's doing all that, we're going to say, assuming all the legacy in CMD, how to replace it with these new abstractions we're building and how to expand these abstractions, because I know that ChatGPT 5.3 or like Codex 5.3 is decently good at doing this kind of work. So that's what we're going to focus on. This guy is like kind of busy right now. However, this guy in the operating system, which we asked to design a new DSL, it uploaded it at UI DSL evolution, right? So that's while this is working, and then I'll ask it to do a big like, hey, extract all the functionality of these commands and map them to new abstractions. That's going to be a big meaty refactor that hopefully will allow us to then at the end just like finish the work. So it uploaded this to UI DSL evolution, right? So now we have this document about to just show this again. The UI DSL is what allows little apps that I have in my operating system, like this one, right? They offer a hopefully the most elegant API so that small models can create apps, right? So for example, here GPT-4.1 Mini in a single one shot for 3,000 tokens in 3 seconds generated this little Hello World app. It looks like ass because currently the only thing we can do is like text button, right? So I want to see what the new UI DSL suggestion is so that we can make like nicer widgets, because I do have a shit ton of nice widgets. They're just like not exposed to the JavaScript. So gonna go through those. I'm gonna be quiet again while I mean, it's a pattern, right? Like, because literally most of my work, 90% of it is just being quiet in front of my tablet and scribbling little things. So I know that doesn't make for the best YouTube, but if I don't do it, I'll make mistakes, and then everything will be just about fixing mistakes, and no one likes seeing that. Because I really want to, when I prompt, right, I want to basically know that it's going to do things the way I intend them to do. If they don't, it's like an opportunity to be like, hey, why did you fuck up? Is the model not good enough? Did you not prompt it good enough? Is the API too dirty? Should you prompt it differently? Like that's when it fails to do what I want, I always find that that's like a good opportunity to learn. It's like a compiler, and then a compiler tells you like, hey, this should be like a list, not an integer. And then you're like, okay, why is that? Oh, well, it's like this API uses lists. That's cool. So we're going to dig into this. This is because it's more like a design document. It's probably going to be quicker to review. Also because it's a very simple part at the end of a whole stack of abstractions that I'm going to be like, yeah, I kind of like this. This is more like a vibes review. So this is true. Like we want VM authored card to be able to express richer interactions elegantly while keeping the DSL easy to learn, safe, and maintainable. Today, there's a mismatch. The DSL is minimal. The engine has already invested in richer, accessible tokenized widgets. The runtime card rendering does not fully inherit that. So that's cool. We're not going to replace QuickJS runtime. We're not going to do a full redesign of the confirm runtime protocol. We're not going to support every widget. And then arbitrary user CSS or direct React component injection, that's also out of scope. That's not the point of all of this. Where does the UI DSL come from? This is coming from the stack bootstrap. So the DSL is mostly actually something that generates JSON, and this resulting JSON is going to be parsed by an interpreter. So we do have a little bit more widgets here, right? We have a table, we have a badge, we have a panel, but they're not really great. And then so we're not going to do prompt engineering today, I think. I might do some prompt engineering with Claude just to make things a little bit smoother because codex seems to be a little bit too cryptic, but then the cryptic part of GPT seems to work well with all models. Host rendering and event dispatch. So this starts a runtime session, projects a global state, renders. Yeah, so this is the render, right? Like it takes UI nodes, which are trees of widgets, basically, like static JSON, and it turns them into React elements. So this is good that it classifies them. I was like thinking about layout widgets right now. I don't know what the counter widget is. So because this was all vibe coded, this has not been refactored because it's probably so different from the React. So it hasn't been refactored to use the new CSS system, I think. So that's going to be a good opportunity to make that consistent as well. So that is true. That this is for the table, the row selection model was something that really annoyed me. So that's good to have it. This is going over all the React widgets that we have. So we have like data table, form view, toast, tab control, drop down menu, all of these. Recent additions, we have like rating picker and grid board, composition proof, confirm runtime host, confirm request window. So we added something that's called please confirm, which I'm not going to get into today, but that already has some kind of like DSL that's really nice to ask questions from the user. I'm not going to get into it today. So continuing our review of the UI DSL, let me kill some spammers. Goodbye. Add. So let's see at the proposed DSL evolution, right? Like this is where things are going to be interesting. We're going to kill the counter, I don't think it's all that useful. Kill it. Um, I'm going to switch into silent mode because I know otherwise I'm going to do mistakes. So we're going to kill two widgets. We're going to kill the schema form. We're going to kill the image choice. Going to kill the rating as well. Those are not things that we need. Grid board, I'm going to leave it in because of the game. File upload is nice. I wonder if there's others that we might want to add from the total list. We have tab control, drop-down menu, context menu, tool palette, selectable list. Selectable list is a good one that I would like to have. So I'm not sure if it has, yeah, selectable list, it has it here. However, we're going to remove this one. We're going to remove this one, and we're going to remove the schema form render. So these are the these little adjustments that are going to have a huge effect as we move on, right? Like if I asked it to add the schema form, it would probably add a lot of complexity to the JavaScript generation side, which will confuse LLMs over time, and then it will just like add this whole schema form is something that is actually the UI DSL in itself, but just from a different repo, and it kind of got merged in. So update to kill UI counter, no schema form or rating. I think I like image choice as well. Add image. Nah, I'm gonna add, no need to add too much. No schema form rating, image choice. It's always going to be easier to add those later on than like try to migrate too much. Action bar, I'm not even sure what the action bar is. Request action bar. So one thing we can do here, actually, where is my, in here? There we go. We're going to start the storybook. And I think this is where the storybook lives. No? Oh, there's already a storybook running. So let's go see what action bar is, because I'm not sure what this is. Request action bar. So these are all the React widgets that we have. Not sure what's going on here. Yeah, something seems to be off here. We're going to kill this bro. All right, and then we're going to restart it here. All right. Action bar. Well, I'll also kill it. We don't need it. So action bar. So this is good. This is the update that we're going to do. And then we're going to create the tasks and then we're going to go. All right. Create tasks. So update document to creates tasks in the ticket and then implement them one by one, committing at appropriate intervals, keeping a diary. I repeat this over and over just because I'm paranoid. Also in Claude Code, it keeps forgetting these instructions. So I just keep repeating them and you'll hear me ranting about Claude Code quite a bit. I hate it. We'll need it. EMPC Master, what's fast fetch? I have no idea what fast fetch is. What does it do though? I run stock Ubuntu with i3 and I've got like a framework PC. I don't even know what CPU I have. I have a 11th gen Intel, whatever the fuck this is, i7 to 8 gigahertz. And then I have 64 gigs of RAM. I don't give a fuck. Like computers are fast enough. All right, so this is working on the UI DSL. Then on the workspace manager thing, it's also still working. It just completed. So, all right, frequent diary updates, enforce type denum branch, migrated remaining callers and removed legacy branch helper, added updated pass tests, and then key files, branch types, sync operations. Why did it change sync operations? Push PR rebase, workspace. If I was a little bit more invested and I wasn't on stream, I'd probably like be reading the diary. I'm going to show you the diary. And then Ian, in terms of hardware, let me see. Oops. This is what I have. I've had it for like 6 years now or something. You can swap out every component, so it's really cool. I've swapped out the display. I've swapped out like the hinges. I think that's all of it because I'm not really invested in like I don't need a new CPU right now. But I don't think I don't know if I ever will because what I'm building, I have grand designs for it. So in terms of main boards, man, why is it so slow? That's crazy. Yeah, so you can put yourself together, right? And then you can like it can get really like fairly and you can repair everything. It's like yeah, Linux is my daily OS. So framework 13. I don't know, 12th gen Intel, 13th gen Intel. I don't know what the big ass one is. And then they have this like framework 16-inch where you can add a GPU, which is pretty sweet. And then once once you swap, you can just put that into like a little base station and use it as a separate thing. Yeah, this is basically I only have a terminal and a Firefox open, pretty much. And I barely spend time at the computer these days. All right, so it has uploaded this. It has uploaded the diary. So let me show you what the diary is, because it's a key part of my workflow, which is once the LLM as it works keeps like a frequent diary, and I got this from this guy I met at an AI conference called Jesse, and that really was like a big unlock in terms of my workflow itself. So see it. We just did the VSM04, and I've got an implementation diary, and here the model writes up like kind of everything that it does. And oh shit, it like oh see this diary is bad. I did like something bad here. It didn't use the right skill. I knew this research skill is like not good. So maybe I should do this right now. Update the research ticket skill to tell it to use the diary skill instead of describing the diary format. Just use the normal format with what worked, etc. So yeah, it's a remarkable e-ink, and this is not my program, even though I have built a version of it. It just streams the screen over. Like I'm logged in over SSH, and then I just stream the tablet over. So it's pretty cool because with the SSH, I told it, okay, go in, reverse engineer the format of the files on there. I had like a little bit of help because there were some, mostly around the older format, but and then I asked it to build like a renderer, and then it could compare the images from the tablet to the images of its own renderer. And I actually always like had a sub agent do the image comparison, and then I came back the next morning and I had like a good. No, it's not hacked. It's pretty open. You just turn on developer mode and then you can SSH in. It's pretty cool. I wish more companies did that. But yeah, I like it's easy to reverse engineer shit these days. I've started reverse engineering all these like legacy protocols and stuff. It's just amazing. Like 03, 01 and 03 last year, I think at Christmas is when it really hit me. I was like, holy shit, I just reverse engineered a protocol in like this. So anyway, in the diary you can see kind of what it did. This is not a great diary. This is not the format I use usually. But this is where it started doing the code. Usually there's more detail here. But so it's like, yeah, look, it added a new package. It added tests. It broke and refactored grid client branch APIs to be more explicit. Updated the backend implementation. I wish I could see more about this. But we're going to build all of this later on. All right, and then yeah, so this is the format that I like. So it did go back to the format that I enjoy. It gives you my user prompt in verbatim, so I can right like this is easier to read than like a conversation log, but it still has like my exact prompt, and then it includes its interpretation, which is because it's written after the fact. It's more like, hey, this is how I interpreted what you said, because it's auto-regressive, right? So it doesn't mean that, oh, that's how I thought about it. It's like, oh, this is at the end of working all of this. This is kind of how you could interpret what I did, and so that allows me very quickly to be like, oh, this is not what it thought it was going to be doing, and then it did something else. It's like, no, this is the interpretation of what it did. So I don't know if that makes sense. Like, right, like there's my prompt here, user prompt. Then it starts working and doing a lot of thinking, right? So there's going to be little think in there, but so this is the agent running in the context window, right? So this is the context window. And then let me make this a tiny little bit smaller. There we go. So in terms of the context window, then at the end, it writes like the diary, right? And so what the diary does is like, it basically summarizes this, what it did. It's not, right? It's like after the fact. And that's like, I think something really important to understand with the LLMs is that, oh, this is not what it thought. It's just like the most probable completion that it could do at this point, and that refers to this part, right? So it's like after the fact, so it's actually easier for me to read it and say like, this is actually what I did, and trust it instead of being like, oh, it first said it was going to do that and then it did something different. All right. Hey, Cosmo Fit 14, how's it going? I'm currently, I can't speak too much because I will make mistakes, but I'm reviewing a post hoc diary of what my coding agent has done on my workspace manager, work tree manager. Why are you a bit mad? What's going on? How is this unreadable, huh? White on white. Cool. Here we go. So when I ask questions like this of a model, it's going to be sycophantic, right? Like it's going to answer the way I asked the question. So here I don't really care too much, but it's going to tell me like, yeah, it's maybe not that important. Although codex is decent at like pushing back at times, you have to be aware that it's still going to be. Oh, so what game was it? Like you were. What game are you frustrated with? I'm playing on a PS5, so I don't have to deal with that shit. So I'm going to clean up stuff. What we're going to do is create a new doc manager ticket and add tasks to remove sync, but also go over all the verbs we have, classify them by complexity, make a list of the functionality that is in the command file itself, how it could be cleaned up and moved or merged with what we have in PKG, including how PKG stuff might evolve. The goal is to have all the actual functionality as a nice reusable package in PKG, right? a detailed design and analysis document in a very verbose style with prose paragraphs and bullet points and pseudocode and code snippets and API reference and diagrams for our intern that doesn't know anything about the code base. Upload to Remarkable. So we're going to do a design analysis and do one more consolidation or a consolidated plan of everything to be cleaned up, and then probably going to yeet a couple of verbs that I don't use that are probably just too complex to do anything useful right now. And then we're going to refactor everything, add a JavaScript interface on top, then write scripts in JavaScript to quickly exercise a lot of the functionality. And then once we have the JavaScript interface, then we can integrate it in other JavaScript scripts, and we have like all this like cool functionality where now we can mostly write scripts and not write like Go stuff, right? Oh, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, that I remember. It's like a platformer, right? Is it a new one? I suck at platform. I suck at every video game, to be honest. I'm playing Neo 3 right now. Kind of kicking my butt, but it feels like a little bit easier. But I'm not good at reflexes, so like rhythm games. I mean, I put Dark Souls and stuff like that. I call them like rhythm games. They're a little bit easier for me. All right, it's doing the audit. Here we have the new UI DSL implemented as requested. I updated blah, 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 blah. Created this, created all of that. Okay, hidden hour is a pre-test. I document this in the diary. What's the, whoops. What's the taxonomy thing? All right. So where should we do a set of test cards? Set of UI, DSL, plugins, hypercards as part of the hypercard package to demo the new widgets and looks. Where would that go? So here I start to have to be a little bit more careful because we're going to add a lot of functionality, and I should make sure that the packages are pretty clean up front. Like it's an engine right now, but engine is kind of like everything. So maybe this is a good point to like start separating that stuff before we go on too far. Okay, so hold on. Can we split hypercard plus runtime stuff into its own package separate from engine, which would be mostly window manager stuff, etc. So that's hopefully one of the last big moving shit around. Because this started as like a vibe coding app, right? So like everything was on top of each other. And let me remove this from the broadcast. There we go. Hopefully this is going to be one of the last major cleanups in terms of the operating system setup. And I think it's important to do it now. I plan to stream for very long, and if I start just like piling more and more and more stuff, it's not going to be good for that. All right, so what should move into hypercard runtime, running runtime, plugin, blah, blah, blah. desktop window package, shell windowing core. Um, okay, create a new ticket and a very verbose, detailed design document for our new intern that doesn't know anything about the code base or the setup or the functionality um, or the runtime plugin architecture. Upload the design document to Remarkable. Keep a detailed diary as you work. Store design doc in ticket. All right, so some more refactoring. Doing a lot of refactoring. That's kind of all I do. But once all of this is done, hopefully we'll have some good playbooks like slash skills, and we'll able to just like plow through cool shit. So hopefully what I have in my head is going to come together. And what we're building is this little, I call it operating system, because I mean, it's because it has like apps, it has like a window manager, has like modules with introspection, has all kinds of stuff, and it's able to like load multiple apps. There's a couple of abstractions that I still don't really know how to do. So I'm reading a lot of old literature. It can run like ArcAGI. This is one of the examples. Not that I care too much about having a video game in here, but it was like a good suggestion of what to do. Uh, so uh, so this is like a React widget thing, but then here this is a vibe generated version of like what a UI could be. Currently, it's like only what do you call it? Oh god, it's like only buttons and text. But with our previous refactor, it should have done a bunch of examples. Well, it's not doing the bunch of examples because I want to refactor things before creating UI DSL examples. And all right, this is going to take a minute. In the meantime, though, see, working on two projects at once allows me um, to take my time. Like I'm always doing something interesting. I don't care about my agents finishing or not. I usually sit with my tablet and think pretty hard. So here I'm yapping most of the time, but actually I would put more effort into what I'm doing and then probably avoid some errors, like be able to do bigger things. So it did a code review here about the proposed structure of like how we could restructure our workspace manager. Can see it like here in command verb complexity audit. That's what I just asked for. And now I'll have to go quiet a little bit and review this in order to not fuck stuff up too much. I'll do my annotations and then I'll come back and kind of try to explain them. But this is basically my work tree manager. It's been vibe coded a year ago almost. I never looked at the code. I tried to add more features. It broke. So now I'm in a spot where it's like, okay, models are really good. They're better architects than I am. So using this power of like having something that's a good architect, go back to it and like fix it and make it work well. Okay, so I mostly went over this like consolidation thing. I realized that the GitHub stuff is pretty complex and I don't need it. So I'm just gonna tell it to like remove the GitHub stuff too. What's conflicts about? So I'm actually remove the GitHub stuff too. That's an instruction. First want to ask a couple of questions. Which commands would you remove to simplify the work the most? Um, and then I think that's about it. Um, so I'm going to ask two questions. Based on these questions, I will be able to formulate my last request, which is remove sync, remove GitHub, maybe remove conflicts, and then trust it to do the right reorganization and also tell it like no backwards compatibility. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Um, so yeah, it's like looking at conflicts because I asked it to. I don't know what this command does, so it's a good candidate to be removed. But maybe it's also a good command that I just like never used and that I should continue using. So yeah, it's like quickly confirm overlap against rebase status diff because I suppose it's like just telling me a little bit more info about conflicts, about about status, and um, probably just like look if there's merge conflicts in the status it's in so far, and I'm not sure if that's all that useful. I mean, it sounds useful, but maybe it could be part of status. Um, so there's that. In the meantime, HyperCard runtime split has finished. It uploaded the detailed working diary, work interface, design doc, uploaded to Remarkable. So hopefully this is also one where the design that Codex does is like good enough. So we'll have a look at that. This is the HyperCard runtime split design document here. And hopefully we can fairly quickly have it going. That's going to be a long one. I'm going to take a break because it's been 2 hours. All right. So I'm going to go silent a little bit, review the split of my HyperCard and runtime plugin architecture because in these views here, so this is a HyperCard card, right? These are native React things, so they're not cards, but I do have a lot of other cards. So for example, this is a HyperCard card. And so each of them has a JavaScript sandbox that they're running in. And that's what's called like a runtime plugin, runtime card. And this all started like all mixed together with the inventory, and then I slowly started extracting them out, and now I'm going to extract this like JavaScript plugin thing plus the card stuff into its own package, totally separate from the other windowing stuff, just so that I have a clean basis as I start building more and more and more plugins to not mix code with the core engine and being able to separate it into potentially repos, potentially leave it in the same repo because it's so foundational to the operating system, but at least have some level of separation. So that's what I'm going to do. Hopefully, this is going to be pretty quick, but I do have to be quiet to do a good job. All right, I think this looks pretty good. I am not very cognizant of this architecture, so I actually can't really explain it. Currently, I just trust Codex to do mostly the right thing. I'm going to do create tasks to execute this plan. No need for backwards compatibility wrappers or the like. Then work on the tasks one by one, committing at appropriate intervals, keeping a detailed diary. Upload the diary to Remarkable once all done. So this is going to run a while, I think. We're going to go back to our workspace manager. Commands I'd remove first to simplify things: sync, conflicts, tmux starship. So if you want to maximum, also drop PR and push. Both large and GH CLI coupled. Okay, so remove all 6 because I never used them. Oh wait, so why does push use GH? Commit the current changes, then work on all. All right. Nah, I'm going to say remove all 6, including PR plus push, and consolidate. Create detailed tasks, update the implementation plan, work off the tasks one after another, commit at appropriate intervals, keep a detailed frequent diary, upload diary to Remarkable when done. So this is also going to take, I think, quite a while. It's probably going to take 20 minutes or so. This is also probably going to take 20 minutes. I'm going to use the occasion to take a break. And oh, what the fuck is? Why can't I just like make a new file? Okay. On a little break, look at these amazing agents. So the other one is like on 3 and 2. So this goes to 2 and this goes to 3. And there we have our agents working on left agent, split window manager, JS sandbox runtime. And then right agent, refactor workspace manager. All right. I'll be back in like 10 minutes or so. Need to take a break. Need to walk around a little bit. So see you there. Hopefully we'll have some finished well architected results. We'll have the diaries on the tablet, and then we'll review the diaries mostly to actually learn about the code base, less so to review what the agent did, because I trust the agents more than I trust myself in terms of like software architecture, software cleanliness, like Codex, right? Like not Opus. Opus is not reliable. And once we have that, and we're able to create a lot of work trees, we can go back to our master plan and start building more apps for our operating system. The Go operating system that will change the world of software. engineering forever. All right. Uh, See you soon, whoever is not watching. Um, oh, look at that. I had this quite a bit yesterday as well. Um, I kind of had to call it like manually. Oh, so this already finished? So I removed this. So now do the consolidation and the refactor to have all the functionality in PKG in a coherent architecture. Add tasks to the ticket, work on them one by one. And then go test fails. README and implementation MD, interesting. I have a weird feeling about this one, but we'll see. So also I'm realizing I said I would like stream 12 hours, but man, I've got a headache. I only slept 4 hours. I'm like not 30 anymore. So I might actually take a break before I get sick or something like that. It's not fun getting old. You have to like take breaks and shit. Mm. So this is gonna take a minute. Um, I'll be right back. We're still like changing the world forever. Yeah, I realize I'm gonna have to take a break. I'm not gonna push this as hard as I wanted to because I've been pushing so hard this entire week. If I continue like this, I'm gonna get sick. So, gonna finish these two, and um, after we finish these two, um, I'm gonna call it. It's gonna be some good work done. Um, Especially if the workspace manager works better. That's gonna be really interesting. Maybe we'll add the JavaScript part of it, just for fun. Um, that might be interesting. So it's removing the commands that I told it to remove. It's like finally gotten, codex always needs like a little bit of time until it like gears up and has like thought enough or has like gathered enough context. But now we're there and it's just gonna shit out all the files at once. See that? Bam. And then the other one, this is a more complicated one. I'm kind of curious to see what it's going to do. But this really is getting towards the end of like a really big design architecture phase, um, which is like incomprehensible even kind of to me. I know like the overall shape, but I don't know like the details of the pipes between different components, if that makes sense. Like I think visually, there's a lot of components. I know how they communicate, but then the details are actually pretty tricky. And so it's hard to, it's a lot of work to get there actually, even if in my head it's like very clear. Um, that's interesting. But so we'll get there. So in the meantime, let's go back to our FPGA stuff since we're going to build not only an operating system, but a CPU as well. God damn it, it's only 9 pages. Oh, this was garbage. This is like total garbage. Let's redo it as well. Let's do this. Branch a new chat. Write out project 1 as if it was a full self-contained textbook. Write out project 1 Only the TOC though. So this is just creating like resources to learn how to use the Nano FPGA development kit. This is 155 pages. This is cool. We're gonna download it. This is the DE0 Nano user guide, and then we're gonna upload it to the tablet. Because the generated one was garbage, so no good. We're still interesting. Cool. This seems to be going well, so that's good. This guy here, he probably is. Maybe I should look at the code a little bit. So these are tests. And then, yeah, the writing of the code is like going to be in lines like this. I should have told it to use MV instead of rewriting things, but maybe not. It's hard to tell what it wrote because it was moving files around mostly. But it's good. It has its own package for the HyperCard runtime. It moved the code mirror editor in there as well, which is good. So this, I mean, I set codex 5.3 on high or X. X high is like a little bit too much of an astronaut in terms of architecture. I think it does just like a little bit too much. But 5.3 high is really like a fucking sweet spot for me. It's better than what I do, but it's also something I understand. And except its writing style, it's like the perfect model for me. And making UIs with it sucks as well. So that's how it is. So let's see. Project 1, Front Matter, how to use this book, getting started running today, meet the board, install the tool chain, your first FPGA, bring key pins and constraint, turning blah, blah, blah into a blah, 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 mini capstone. Okay, so this is cool. Write this full textbook, very detailed, 200 plus pages with references and all that. Teach me, write like a textbook written by Peter Norvig, engaging, clear, erudite. All right, there we go. Deep research. Hopefully we get this time around like a hopefully like 30 page, 40 page, 50 page document, maybe. Edit. Just gonna tell it because like writing is just like the last part, and I kind of want to it focus a little bit more on the writing. I'm not used to prompting this thing all too much, but see, it's gonna do like chapter outlines, and it's gonna assemble examples and host tools and all of that, and then it's gonna compile these. So update. I'm at chapter outlines. You should write the chapters, the book in full, not just outlines. Hopefully that will update it. Yeah. Man, I'm having trouble. It's a wild content plan. No, 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 no. It doesn't get it, right? I wonder. Or if like the writing part is like implied in the last one. We're gonna let this run and then we'll see. I can't like be much more aggressive than that. So this is all, yeah, I knew these two would be like going for 20, 30 minutes, which is good. I think it means that we did a good design job up front. But it leaves a question of like what we want to do. So, I mean, since no one's watching and chatting, I can just like start going into some of the stuff I was researching in terms of operating systems before. I had like a couple of discussions here. Oh, and then affordable FPGA dev kits. I don't think that's all. I think I asked like an interesting question here. Um, so for who was watching, we're waiting on agents. So, you know, while we're waiting on agents, I'm not going to launch more agents because my brain has um, a finite size. This is cool. Like we're gonna look at FPGA dev kits. Newly available chips GateMate 20K, RP 2040. They all seem to be using that. Fully open toolchain. This is cool. Butterstick. So what are the prices? iSpy 0, crowdfunding, cute, GateMate, 50 euros. User manual, software, GateMate toolchain, 8080 emulation in Verilog running. This is cool. And they're Cologne. I had a girlfriend in Cologne. Yeah, this is kind of cool. GateMate US distributor. So that's just a chip, dev board, evaluation boards. That's just a casing. GateMate EVB 2M. What's the difference? Two megabyte SPI flash compared to how much? Oh, it's available on Mauser as well. On order. And so what's the EVB here? How much SPI flash? 7 in stock, 48 on order. I mean, zero in stock. This one's in stock. Okay, whatever. There's like some cool shit out there. That's good to know. Actually, this is interesting because of the open source software aspect of it. Um, wait, it returned. Okay. Wait, now I have two. Man, why is this software so ass all the time? All right, whatever. Oh, maybe I shouldn't show that. All right. Let me see. It's not my address anymore, but I shouldn't like show the new one. Oh my god. Oh fuck this. And I hate logging in so much because there's like MFA and then it sends you an email and then you get like a text message and then you get this and then you get that. Um, Oh my god. Log in another way. Get an email. No, log in another way. Oh, I can only get an email or use the PayPal app. Jesus Christ. Your PayPal verification code. All right, that worked. Cool. All right. And the agent's finished, but I think I might take a break. I am getting really tired because I actually program until 4 a.m. and I'm old, I guess. All right, so I bought a GateMate, which is cool, which is exciting because it has like an open source Verilog tool chain, which will be nice. And then we were starting to build this guide. I'm just going to look at that before I wrap up. So this was our first thing, and then we have I thought we had forked this. I thought we had like a second conversation about this. Did it lose it? Oh, there's the branch. Okay. It's still writing. It's still a number 2. This is good. This feels good. This is going to be a big ass book. Very good. This is probably normal that it fails to compile because we moved so many packages. So we're going to restart the storybook, and then we're going to restart the Vite dev as well. And then this is kind of broken. So this is good. Why do you not catch that from pnpm dev, which runs in a tmux? So there's a few little bugs, but it looks like at least the storybook doesn't have the runtime shit anymore. So runtime card debug window. That's cool. So those are all things that I was kind of expecting to maybe be problematic, because it really is like a bunch of shifting stuff around. So here, the consolidation and all of that stuff is working. Unrelated pre-existing dirty files were left untouched. What does that mean? All right, we're going to add the tickets. Add tickets. So now what we're going to do is create a new ticket to use glazed for all the CLI verbs. See glazed commands. Command authoring. Go through each command and write a plan section on how to port it over in a implementation document to store in the new ticket. Keep a detailed diary as you work. Upload a plan to Remarkable. And this is going to migrate the CLI verbs to my framework, which will make it easier to be consistent, will allow me to expose their schema as a JavaScript thing later on. And I realized, yeah, there's the JavaScript stuff to be added as well. Once we have the JavaScript stuff, I'm going to ask it to do smoke tests. And I guess I'm not taking a break, huh? Guess we're going to use that. All right. Yeah, I'm going to do like half an hour. Just get like the the runtime split going here? Is it still debugging? Error loading, dynamically imported runtime card window. Maybe we can restart Storybook as well. This is broken. Oh God. In Storybook. All right, this is maybe like time to also just like take a break when this kind of stuff happens instead of just like randomly pasting error messages. Um, think about what is going on here with this create app store. Where does the app store live? Do we have multiple now? Clearly, it's not a stupid error. Clearly, there's something going on here where importing from dot slash is like a weird thing. I'm not a JavaScript programmer all that much, but something feels fishy. If it does feel fishy, it might be you hit a real gap in the hard cut. Still has engine store is importing the deleted engine source app create app store. I'll patch those story. What is the app store? What did it used to be? Doesn't windowing the engine also have a store? Right? And then now we have packages engine importing from hypercard runtime. Engine should not import from hypercard runtime. This means that we might need to move the chat stuff out of the way to have a clean dependency tree. So yeah, I was right. There's something fishy going on, and if you don't clean up like package dependency issues or stuff like that, you can get like into total mess. Like it's, I mean, I don't know what codex does, but like it does require to take a step back to figure those out. I think codex is able from time to time to do it, but like dependency cycles would just nuke code bases even 6 months ago. So that's one thing to get really right. Depend on and why. What does chat conversation window depend on? What about book tracker? In the meantime, this dude finished here. I updated a task list to reflect update a migration plan. So we're going to quickly look at the command line stuff because that should be pretty quick. And it's a really useful refactor. So we have the CLI migration. Gonna shut up a little bit because I need to think about this one. But that's how it goes. All right, there's a couple of things to fix. They're not big. They're just like little conventions. So layout command. What's the layout currently? Yeah, layout commands group verb dot go kill commands. This most commands should be dual output human first. That's just for the output format. And then what was the last thing that I wrote down in the playbook, on the book? Dual commands, and then okay, so I'm gonna save this in my clipboard for now because I have a question to ask first, which is what glazed sections might make sense. Do you even know what a glazed section is? To make sure that it has the documentation. Like the thing that it created makes me think that it didn't fully know this. Yeah, it's a name schema block. For these sections make sense. Glazed schema, workspace context like dash dash workspace. Yep. Common runtime controls. Okay, so now I'm gonna paste what I had before, and then also design few. We don't need tiny sections. You can have duplicate flags if okay in commands. Out one or a couple of sections as possibilities. So update the design doc upload as v2. All right. Engine is still broader than windowing. It is not runtime dependent in production code, but storybook files usually broad the boundary. Can we just move the stories out? For the engine, not depend, mostly yes, at least for this current branch. Current runtime imports are story only. Okay. There's also one stale deleted path import still in storybook. Okay. What desktop shell depends on and why. On is itself a thin wrapper. Real logic is in controller. Windowing selector, blah, blah. It's a soft coupling to chat profile versus state shape for visibility filtering. That's weird. What the fuck does that mean? It does not directly import HyperCard runtime. App window rendering is abstracted through render app window adapters. It has a soft coupling to chat profile state shape. Ah, that is weird. With chat conversation window, Redux, chat, desktop context, network runtime path, protobuf. What about book tracker? It's not an engine core widget implementation. It's a storybook demo plugin VM fixture. It uses runtime store creation. There is one canonical stat factory. You can instantiate multiple store instances for windowing reducer, not a separate store if you want strict boundaries. Move runtime dependent stories out of engine. Yep. Remove shell's implicit chat profile state read behind an injected visibility context provider. What? It means desktop shell is reading chat specific data, even though it doesn't. So what does it do here? If state is not object, return state chat profiles. Resolve action visibility context. Do we have a visibility injection context provider? This is about hiding context menu items, right? is it already a generic system? That's why I want to move components out, because otherwise they start like the chat is like inserting itself in the right click context menu. That's like not stuff I want to have, right? And it's kind of hard to verify that this is not happening by just reading things like this. If it's in separate packages, though, I can quickly verify that there's no circular dependency, for example, with like a linting rule, or just the model will be like much less, much more careful about not mixing things up. Yes, this is the context visibility menu system is generic. All right, so update refactoring ticket with new implementation steps. Move stories to their respective component. Book tracker prob apps book tracker. Use visibility context for registering chat stuff so that we sever all dependencies from engine package. Design a visibility context so that it is easy for external modules to control visibility. I don't even know what right-click visibility context menu is. So we're just going to update the plan to do that. Is there anything else that I noticed here? Move all the chat stuff into its own package as well. I think it might have already done that. Hypercard chat runtime. Yeah, so let's make a new ticket, right? Make a new ticket to clean chat, to move chat runtime out of engine so that we have clean packages and a clear DAG dependency graph. Create a detailed design and implementation document for our intern who doesn't know the code base for okay, for the visibility context thing, explain what it is for, what visibility even means, how and what for it can be used by external, by modules, by other packages, and explain the design rationales and trade-offs. I'm not even sure we need that thing because I don't know what it is for. 7+ pages document. I'm gonna do upload to Remarkable, verbose and detail and written out for our intern. Actually, 8+ pages, prose, paragraphs, bullet points, pseudo code, code snippets, diagrams. All right. One more analysis of one more module split, but as we see, that's exactly why I want to have a clear foundation, because otherwise things get entangled, right? And then the more things get entangled, the more the module, the LLM starts entangling things, and then the harder and harder and harder it becomes to do anything, because it's really hard to understand how things happened. The diaries that I keep help a lot, but and explain how we got that far in the first place, because this has really been through the ringer already. And so here we have the glazed CLI plan. That was like the other thing we're working on. Now we have a V2. And so the V2 is shorter than the first one. That's good. That's the wiring that I wanted. Propose groups, registry, discover, workspace, create, git. Oh, it has all these like git verbs. Sure, why not? So many verbs. Hey, whatever. Dual output, human first, minimal section strategy, no tiny sections. Runtime section, output mode, jobs, dry run, interactive force. That's nice. Scope section, that's nice too. And that's kind of what I wanted. All right. So that's cool. Add detailed tasks to the ticket, then work on it task by task, commit at appropriate intervals, keep a detailed diary. So that's cool. So you can see maybe like how careful I am with my design documents, right? Like that's really where I spend most of my time. I only have 2 codecs going. I was at 53% of my plan this morning when I started. I'm at 52% now. So I barely use tokens, which is, to me, is crazy, but that's like the value of like good plans, I guess. Is like as I create these documents and they reference all the right parts of the code base, and I have diaries that explain what I built. Oh, what am I doing? Cam link, and then I just want to add this. All right, there we go. Like to me, this is a sign that I'm doing engineering, right? Because there's like a real indicator of the quality of the result versus the amounts of tokens I put in, which means that my prompts are effective. And yet, I mean, this today was like a lot of refactoring, which is harder than building features, but I'm doing all of this refactoring to build features really quickly. So maybe I'll stream tonight if I'm not too tired. I might also just like take a break. But I will have some really nicely separated front-end modules if you want to see what all of this is for. I think it's broken right now. Maybe it's not. But so I have all of these little apps, and I do have a new language here. And as I want to create like demo widgets with the new DSL, but I didn't want to just like plunk them into the main engine. So I separated out the JavaScript runtime part, because these little things here, not this one, but stuff that looks ugly as fuck like this, they're running in a little JavaScript sandbox. They were generated by GPT-4.1 Mini, and some of them, right? Like this is the same concept. So those were generated by GPT-5, so they're like a little bit better. They have like emojis and stuff like that. I do want, now that I have like the new DSL, to render these widgets. 'Cause currently, I can only do table, button, and text. I'm going to be able to do prettier widgets. I want to have like a whole application, a collection of these JavaScript widgets. And as I was building that, I was like, yeah, it's time to separate out the JavaScript runtime from the core windowing engine. And as we see, that was important because the chat window, this chat window here, the LLM chat, was part of the inventory app, right? Like everything was bundled together. The React, the backend, like everything was together. This thing depends on the JavaScript runtime thing because it's able to create, what can I do? Create dragon fire hello world card. GPT-4.1 Mini, right? Streaming 5 tokens per second, and it finished the little thing. So a Dragonfire themed Hello World card. So I'm gonna like make an interactive RPG Dragonfire Hello World Adventure card. Um, so again, streaming like, oh, it's slow as fuck. What is it holding on to? 21 tokens? All right. So didn't do shit. Make an interactive card with a counter. So this is GPT-4.1 mini, but also because I'm working on it at the same time, I think it might have modified the system prompt, and the system prompt is broken. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be able to do buttons anymore. So that's exactly what I want to verify. And I had like the issue of not doing this. But so if we look at this here, yeah, it looks like row is broken because it did create the buttons, right? If we look at the interactive RPG, we see that there's actually a whole RPG. So there is something broken with rendering the panel or something like that. So that's exactly the demo things that I wanted to do. And I wanted to avoid having all this mess here to do that. So it uploaded like the new design document to the tablet. Here again, once the separation is done and we have a pretty DSL, we'll be able to just like smack apps at it. Engine car chat runtime split. I'm going to go into quiet mode just to review this a little bit. And so this is the part that I didn't understand, the visibility part. So I'm going to focus on this one a little bit. And I wonder if this is the same. Is this the same visibility concept? So yeah, because there's action visibility, there's like shell visibility, there's context actions, menu gating. I'm not sure if they're the same concept or not. Because I don't really fully understand that, I'm just going to let it do its thing. Um, all right, this looks good enough for me to trust it for now. Create detailed tasks to do it. Implement it task by tasks, checking them off as you go, committing at appropriate intervals, keeping a detailed diary. When done, upload the diary to Remarkable as well as the one from the previous refactor ticket. All right, so this is going. I don't know why it has trouble compacting, but where we go, it's moving things around. It's actually not moving them, it's rewriting them. I'm fine with that since we moved everything out to PKG. It's like not much code, and that code is going to be significantly different from the previous one, so it's probably better to do it this way. And once we have the clean separation of the OS layers, we do have a new workspace manager that allows us to quickly create work trees. Then we're going to be able to actually go to all the actual cool functionality that I want to bang out, and why I was like, I'm gonna once all this cleanup is done, I'll be able to just like smash applications. So we did improve the UI DSL, right? And so here we have moved the UI to GoGo WM, make a clean GoGo OS. That part still needs to be done. It's like actually moving out the Go part of all of it and just having a clean window manager section and then a clean backend section. Currently, they're all still called Go Inventory app because this all came from like a big vibe code thing. We are currently running the cleanup of the WSM, and then the other thing we're doing right now is doing the cleanup of app plus JS runtime. So that's an important one, and then can add Goja WSM as something. Hopefully, I said I would do 30 more minutes, so yeah, that's about now. Because then afterwards, we can start building like real apps, right? The documentation browser is going to be interesting, and that's something we can run in a works tree, for example. Because the refactoring we don't want to do in a work tree, because everything else depends on it. So this is the one thing that we do have to do before we start using work trees. And then the first app I want to do is like a database service. And the database service is going to be interesting because it is kind of like a class. And you can instantiate the DB class to open a specific DB, and then you have like a specific instance. And that's something I haven't built yet. And so I wonder how hard that's going to be. That might be a big one. And then there's a second really important service that I want to build, which is the CLI service. And the CLI service is going to be something where you kind of like declaratively or like with very few lines of code describe how a certain CLI verb can be wrapped. And that way we can create apps very, very fast. And I'll explain what an app is when we get there, because it's this thing that it's not a UI, but it allows you to build UIs with the LLM, right? Like the LLM is basically there to create the apps when you want them. And then if you like them, you can save them. And so once everything is cleaned up and the LLM chat, I don't even care about the LLM chat and the OS right now because we'll just like fake it with codex. But then we can create like all kinds of services really quickly. And then once we have the services, we can create these UIs that run in sandboxes that are like totally safe, which is going to be really, really interesting. And so if we go back to what we said here, is like 1, 2, in terms of WVSM, we're doing the glazed verbs right now. We have a clean surface. This is the important one that we want to have, and then the initialization templates / JS scripts. That's going to be a direct consequence of just having the Goja interface. So that's going to be pretty interesting too. All right. I don't know how far this is getting. I wonder if this dude is finishing. Okay, what are the lint issues? I don't know. This dude is doing heavy migration. So maybe this is a good point to stop the stream, and then I'll probably continue tonight, maybe. If not tonight, then tomorrow. All right, I'm closing my tablet, which is a sign that I'm through, and then yeah, yeah, it's I'm pretty happy with how it's cleaning up. It means that the design in my head was right, and so despite having a really messy vibe coded app as we started, now it's really starting to be a nice architecture. And we already saw yesterday. I mean, it's broken right now, right? Because it's moving things around. But the thing from yesterday really showed, okay, it actually really works. I wasn't just making it up. It's starting to really um, be what I had in mind. There's still like some ideas because this I think is really kind of a novel approach to coding with LLMs. I don't know if you've seen it when it was still loading the JavaScript, that you can generate an app in like 5 seconds of GPT-4.1 mini, and it's actually something pretty useful. Um, so hopefully I'll be able to build like all kinds of crazy apps today or tomorrow. So we'll see. Um, all right. Well, see you later.